A $4 million hypercar just got turned into something Bugatti never approved, never authorized, and clearly never wanted to exist. And the wildest part? They can't stop it. Not legally, not officially, not even with their own engineers standing right there watching it happen. What started as a wrecked Chiron Pur Sport, abandoned by the one company that could have properly fixed it, has now become the most defiant build in modern supercar history. And Bugatti's reaction to it, or rather, their total lack of one, tells you everything you need to know about who's actually winning this fight. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why one of the most powerful manufacturers on Earth went completely silent when it mattered most. Let's rewind, because the setup here is insane. Alex Gonzalez crashes his Chiron Pur Sport into the back of a truck in Florida, front end obliterated. The horseshoe grille, the single most iconic shape in Bugatti's entire brand identity, smashed to pieces. Carbon fiber panels that took Bugatti's craftsmen thousands of hours to hand build, destroyed in seconds. A factory technician flown in from France takes one look and basically writes the car off. Total loss. Case closed, right? Wrong, because instead of scrapping it, the car ends up with Mat Armstrong, and that's when things get interesting. Now, most people assume that when a car this expensive gets wrecked, the manufacturer steps in to help. That's what you'd expect, right? You paid millions of dollars for the privilege of owning one of 60 Chiron Pur Sports on the planet. Surely Bugatti wants to protect that investment, protect their reputation, protect the car. Instead, here's what they did, and it's borderline unbelievable. They locked the car's VIN number, blacklisted it. That means every single authorized dealer, every certified technician, every official parts supplier on the planet was suddenly banned from helping this car in any way. No grille, no fenders, no diffuser. Nothing. A car that cost more than most houses, and Bugatti essentially said, good luck, to the guy trying to save it. Sounds like the end of the story. It's actually just the beginning, because Mat Armstrong doesn't quit. He improvises. Coolant pipe blown out and no parts coming? He builds one out of reinforced brake hose. Need a crash bar? He hand fabricates one from scratch, 60 hours of work, from nothing. And along the way, viewers are getting jaw-dropping reveals about what's actually inside a Bugatti. Like finding out the gas pedal on a car that hits 300 miles an hour is just cheap molded plastic. Not machined aluminum, not some exotic material, plastic. Millions of people watching this in real time, and every episode is peeling back another layer of a brand that's built its entire image on secrecy and perfection. But the parts blacklist was only the opening move. Because a few weeks in, something even stranger surfaces. A discovery buried inside the car's own safety systems. Reports emerge that the airbag configuration on this specific Chiron doesn't match what Bugatti told regulators it should be. Suddenly, this isn't just a story about a stubborn manufacturer refusing to hand over a grille. It's a story about what a supercar company might be hiding inside the safety architecture of a car people are driving at over 250 miles an hour. And Bugatti's response? Not silence this time. The opposite. A 10-minute video posted straight from their corporate account, trying to get ahead of it. Then a direct message lands in Alex Gonzalez's inbox. Someone claiming to be the CEO of Bugatti himself, reaching out personally. Think about that for a second. The actual chief executive of one of the most exclusive car companies on the planet, sliding into the DMs of a guy whose car they just blacklisted. That's not a company that feels comfortable. That's a company that feels cornered. Then comes the invoice. A routine service that should have cost a few $100s, maybe a couple thousand at most, comes back from an authorized channel priced at over $25,000 for what amounts to about $1,100 of actual work. Viewers do the math in real time in the comment section, and the number doesn't add up no matter how you slice it. It becomes one more data point in a growing pattern. A manufacturer that seems less interested in getting this car fixed and more interested in making sure it never gets fixed outside their control. And then there's the recall. A separate notice surfaces involving the fuel pump control module, tied to safety concerns Bugatti themselves flagged in other vehicles. Except when it comes to this specific blacklisted VIN, that recall repair somehow isn't available either. So now you've got a car that Bugatti's own paperwork says needs a safety fix, sitting in a shop, with the manufacturer refusing to authorize the very repair their own recall demands. If that sounds contradictory, that's because it is. And it's exactly the kind of contradiction that's kept 10 million combined subscribers glued to this saga for over a year and a half. Every time one of these escalations hit, the pattern repeated. Bugatti shows up. Not through lawyers filing quiet paperwork, but through public moves clearly designed to control the story. A statement here. A phone call placed right before a deadline Armstrong's team announced publicly. An ultimatum involving 3D printed replacement parts, followed by a corporate directive with a hard cutoff date of July 31st. Every single time, right before that deadline hit, the phone rings. Someone from Bugatti wants to talk. It's like clockwork. Obstruct, escalate, then reach out the moment the public pressure gets too loud to ignore. So by the time the widebody announcement drops, you'd expect the same playbook. A statement, a video, a phone call. Instead, nothing. And that's when you realize exactly how different this moment actually is. Because here's what changed. With the original body panels permanently unreachable, Armstrong and Gonzalez made a decision that should terrify Bugatti's engineering department. Build a wide-body Chiron. Something that has never existed, not a factory model, not a limited edition. Something entirely new, built outside the system, on a car whose aerodynamics were never, ever meant to be touched by outsiders. And this is where it stops being a repair story and becomes something way bigger. The Chiron's aerodynamics aren't decoration, they're a precision-tuned system. Active rear wing that shifts position depending on speed. Front splitter calibrated down to the millimeter to keep the front and rear axles balanced against each other. Every single panel on that car is in constant conversation with every other panel, a relationship Bugatti spent years validating in wind tunnels and CFD simulations that most manufacturers on Earth simply can't afford to run. Widen that body, and you're not slapping on a cosmetic kit like you'd see on some tuned-up street car. You're rewriting the physics of one of the most aerodynamically advanced production vehicles ever built. Without factory data, without factory tooling, without a single ounce of factory permission. Think about the sheer audacity of that. This isn't a hobbyist bolting flared fenders onto a Honda. This is independent fabricators, using nothing but their own skill and their own instincts. Attempting to redesign the aerodynamic envelope of a hypercar that took Bugatti's own engineers years and a 9-figure development budget to perfect the first time around. If they get it wrong, the car could be unstable at speed. If they get it right, they'll have built something Bugatti itself has never dared to produce. So how did Bugatti respond to that? This is the part that should send chills down every hypercar owner's spine. Because up until now, Bugatti always responded. Every single time something escalated, the VIN lockout, the airbag scandal, the $25,000 invoice, the fuel system recall, Bugatti showed up. Executives posting videos, DMs from people claiming to be the CEO, phone calls placed right before public deadlines. They were fighting to control the narrative every single step of the way. Because every step of the way, they still had leverage. They still had something Armstrong needed. Parts, authorization, cooperation. Then the widebody drops, and silence. No damage control video, no statement, no warning shot, nothing. And that silence is louder than anything they've said this entire saga. Because for the first time, Armstrong and Gonzalez aren't asking Bugatti for permission. They're not requesting parts, they're not appealing the blacklist, they're just building, using their own hands, their own network, their own vision, a car Bugatti itself will never produce and, by the look of things, has no idea how to stop. Think about what that actually means. One of the most secretive, most controlled, most tightly guarded manufacturers in the automotive world just watched a group of independent builders create something completely original out of a car they tried to lock away forever. A car they blacklisted, a car they walked away from, a car their own technician declared a total loss. And instead of dying in a warehouse somewhere, it's about to become the only one of its kind on the planet. A car with more genuine, hand-built engineering ingenuity poured into it than half the vehicles that roll off Bugatti's own production line. Bugatti built the cage, Mat Armstrong just built the door. And judging by their silence, it sounds like they finally realized there's nothing left they can do to stop him from walking through it.